Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on UppTalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say UppTalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you are new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
I will go to data catalog first of all, and then I will go to yes. Let me know the data sets and the one which you have created. Which one is? This one is yours. One. See what issue we are facing. Let me go to edit transformation. By default, it's going to text field when you add a field or it captures automatically about the type which gets. Yes, let me hear now. What you want to do is this is effective. It wants you to change it to. Instead of high fun, you want to change it effectively. You don't want to remove the slash and want to replace it with a hyphen. That's why that's simple. Then for you, you need to create a series of the tail field. What I can do is I can go over here and first of all, what I do is to string and which field. It's to date. Let's say effective date. Once I do it, it will be converted into the string. Then what I will do is, this is in hyphen format. Now what I can do is I will now extract this particular one and arrange in my format. Let me do this, and let me see if it works for to date not or to. If it works, that's fine, or else we need to see a turn. To date over here apply. What is saying? There is an error expression expected, but instead it's service. This is a start not. Here, we need to enter another one. To apply function date expects argument text, but argument text will be provided. Let me check the to date. What this is to order date and to date. This is at no worries. To date is a row function that converts text values into the date format. Now we got a string and we want to convert this effective date to comma and we want to mention it as backward slash and we want to keep this the small dd. And I also need to mention it is this and this. Let me check for talks. There's someone, there's someone. And this one has no choice. Yes, it worked, but still we need to check this thing. Yes, there is. It is coming in the format which you want, but it's still different. It's not converted completely. We need to basically see it and do it accordingly. Let me go to data again. Again to date. Add or let me do it in this way 55 and here mium is there dd apply. Effective date, see, it works a 10119 this. But here the dot is not coming that we and can check out your convert date. For doing that date, we will have to go for a series 1. And first of all, we created this and what we can do is extract. Thank you. I could check R value R. I want day from date and time, which is to date. Let's see how this returns, what this thing that returns. Here it give me then I will add another stage, then I will create another. I'll call field this, and here I will mention 12C. I will mention this as date. Then here we will use the same, and here rather than day, we will mention month. Month is there, and here we will mention 1 and give. Then we will add another field, and here we will do the same, and rather than we will mention year. We got extracted first. And then what we will do is we get another scale field, and then we will do what is concatenate. To string, concatenate to string and base. Then you want to hyphen. Just a second. Oh. Let's do it for 2 values. For here we will mention 2. Thank you. Here, I think how many call this is starting to string on it. String should. And here, and then to string is starting here and converse over here. Check it. It's giving us a little field not found here. We forgot the spell is some spelling mistake. We got. Now what do is we will add this thing again. I will copy this to string here and here, and rather than mentioning the here we will mention month. And do we got the format as we discussed? 1/1/2017 in this format which we discussed. Correct. Here what happens is sometimes there is no any direct solution to things. What we have to do is we have to create multiple fields, but we have to eliminate the number of fields. Let's say what we did is rather than creating here, we created a day. Rather than creating day, we can also, what we can do is we created day, then this formula only after. It's I can convert to a string and then I can concatenate over here. It's up to me what approach to use. Moving ahead, what I will do is I will hide these fields. Hide this 3. Because this treat is no use for us. We just use for a development purpose only. Correct. Because what happens is the standard format for date is you see the date. It's in /1s. It cannot be conveyed to the hyphens because there are data types we discussed. Let me check if I have that thing handy. Data type. The date combined in 24 hours. Basically that it won't come because the formatting of that date is in a way that we won't be able to pull it out for you. A hyphen, the hyphen is not a hyphen, is not a date type / would be only there. In order to use it, what do is we use in text format, only we won't be able to convert it in the different format. But got it. It's not as simple aside that maybe just create a field and no, I understand. It is good that you have picked these cases and worked upon here if you see if it's in day for the data and time format. And I want to only date, that is what that we also can do. It's basically upon our requirement what we have to do. Yes, and what was the other question apart from this PAL field? This is the one I was looking in. This one only the thing whenever you want to change. This is managed field that the can you show if you don't. Man again, how to change the same thing. Basically there are two methods to change it. But it depends. Is it possible or not? That two approaches. Let me show it if it's possible. In the managed field, but the data date type, what I thought was that you had a date in the text format. If that's the case, then we can change in the manage field. But if you want to replace that for / to the hyphen, then it won't be. It won't be possible. Let's still see. Here new field. Is there a new field? Here we can, if it's possible, see here it will show that Boolean integer long double numeric text instance. There's option which we can change to mom not to date. Yes, not the date. Yes, not the date. If we then might there might be and. Also walk around. I am not sure. Still let me check. Let me go into the edit and why this is not showing to me. Let me refresh it, reload. Basically, Prism is kind of easy, but you need to do this thing. It sometimes feels tricky, but if you see the manual function, why insist on? And taking the function library because function library is very important for us, is the Bible for us to refer. What other approach we was referring to? Then after concatenate what again? Do is we can convert into the numeric to let's say to date if possible. I'm not sure if it will work or not. I'm just taking it if it works because apply. No, it won't work because here there is a format string exchange bit, but instead it got this one. Let me add here and you apply function to date expect text, but argument text we are provided only one argument was provided to date, and here we will check for to date, and for to date what was it? It was ordered it, and then it will provided the format of it. Hello. Yes, here they have it. Basically this syntax won't work over here. What you can do is we can change the type to a numeric sum, maybe to string, and after string. It might work for us. This is yes. Not string. Sorry, my bad, not string integers. Oh no, but it won't take an integer as because it has integer. Let me try if it works. Because we have that hyphen, it won't take. In error also, you will see that the hyphen is there, it won't take in that case. That, but you got it if you want. To convert it, we can do it, but then we need to keep in text only this is the thing. And I will remove this. You can take it as a reference for you. Now let me close it, only that it won't leave. Yes, and any doubt other than a part. From this, oh, that's what I tried it. I didn't got it. I said, no worries, no. Basically, it's a bit tricky. See everything you see, though I say I'm experienced in Prism. But there are different scenarios, and there are chances that I won't have worked in. For this one, you won't remember all the time. Yes, yes. And also what happens is that we still need to check the different approaches for it. In the current example, what it is, I created a snapshot. Let's say this is a date which you mentioned over here. If I open and show it to you, I created a date and I wanted a snapshot of it. That effective date was there. I want a snapshot that this particular snapshot belongs to which group, which month. What I did is I expected this month and I expected the year when I completed by month by this format. By let me type over here by my in this format. What will happen in that case is when I go here, I will get in lower 1 by 2T18. I know that all this record belongs to the January 2018 only, or the list of workers. That is what snapshot month is. Here we get the date on daily basis. 1st Jan, 2nd Jan, 3rd Jan that I get for a monthly basis. But in that also what I did is that snapshot month. Basically it's a kind of a date format. In Excel what we do is we generally have YMI as it will give us. But here the formatting is different. That's the only difference. I need to keep it in text format only. That was the issue for me. Yes, you also want to cover on the report which we created. Let me create a quick report that I actually today only. I created two reports, DV worker data and DV org data. We will start working with it, but first of all I will create a small report for not. A small but at least two field report. I will do that, it will be easy for you to understand. Let's name it as name is RR2PM test report. And I will mention as advanced disclosure. Worker fee. While selecting data source also, we have selected data source, workers for HCM reporting. This is the data, how to decide this one. Data sources, I was little confused here. Also what data source is. Actually that is a very different concept which is in the reporting ones. But if I give an overview, we select the data source based upon the data we want to extract. If I click on these three dots, which is related action, I will come to know that what this data source will get us. This data source accesses the worker as a primary business objects and returns one row per worker and includes all active and terminated workers. Active workers already related objects are reported as of the current date. What I came to know is that it will have workers as a primary business object and it will include all the active and terminated workers. But let's say if I go to, are you aware? With this, regarding business process, no, not under, just no little, let me check if I get something for payroll. This is payroll results. If I see, I will get accesses payroll result as a primary objects and returns one row per payroll result. What is payroll result, let's say, for a worker, if any? Payroll is being processed. Let me go to any profile and show you Logan McNeil here, and let me go to payroll. Pay and result, yes. These are what payroll results 1, 2, 3, 4. What would it? What it will pull, it will each this when I run this report. I will get a 1 row per payroll result, and for the worker, I was getting 1 row per worker. One worker can have multiple payroll, result correct, and I don't want worker, but I want multiple payroll result. That is why what I choose, what type of data output I want. Then there are also the, let's say if I want any data regarding compensation, let's say if it's, I'm not sure if there is any particular data sets. There will be something, but not in this compensation. Compensation changes. It will have all the data for compensation, all compensation events, all compensation grades that it then. Let's say time off is there, it will give me each record for time of types. Time off status is time off taken by date. Here, if I click on it, I will come to know access the time of entry. As a primary object, time of entry objects returns 1 row per time of line one worker took. And on 3rd October, then he took on plant October. Then there will be 2 entries for that line. Yes, based on yes, based upon your requirement, we choose it. Which kind of data source will do. I was thought of creating something. This is the Safely worker for HCM reporting. And when we click, it will give us that all active workers for now. As beginner, you can take this as a reference. All active workers, I will go over here. Here I will mention as employee ID. Employee ID. I will mention that I will go to worker. Now one thing to be keep in mind is when we create a custom report to be used for Prism, we won't use business object as a multi-instance. What is multi-instance? I'll give plus and let's say I mentioned dependent over here. Oh, dependent. See, this is a multi-instance field. 3 lines. Are going out of it. This is our dependence. I won't use this here. If I want multi-instance, I will take worker over here and worker over here, and then only I will use dependence. Dependence. We won't be using this over here, and let's say by any reason if it's not coming here and we want here, then we have to create a calculate field by which this particular field will come on this particular business object. But it is important to keep primary business object only here. Then once we created it, we only will create for 3 lines and go to advanced and enable for web services. And we will enable for Prism, and I will click for enable worksheet as for our reference. One question. Yes, no issues. I was looking no little bit. In currency thing, if we want to add a field currency, yes, we will. Is there a way to add it now or now? Yes, see as I enter this. To and once I do it, and let me do this and enable this. This has been enabled. See automatically options. Show currency code. Column came over here. Yes, now give. Here I don't. Know why it's not populating. Ideally, it should populate XML allies report. Prism prompt we are also. Another thing to be kept in mind is when we create a report, we shouldn't be keeping any prompts. A prompt as an empty ones. We need to mention what are the outputs of it. Here there is no any compulsory fields to be keep in mind. There is no any a compulsory field. What we'll mention is do not promote the runtime, use the referred prompts. That was, and when we will give it, will automatically save it. This is actually the different concept of reporting, but the things to be keep in mind is one thing, don't include the visit any multi-instance field over here, and always go to advanced and click on enable as web service. Yes, enable for tourism as yes. And if we have any prompts, in this case we have 3 prompts. Either we should give any value to it or, and if it's not compulsory, we can give. Do not prompt enter runtime. It will give default values for this particular criteria. When I go to the data catalog, I will go to create or not derive to test it. I will click on create from custom report. And search for the report. See, it came over here. This one, and restrict in the environment. And we will restrict it to we can. Restrict it better, in which tenant it should come. Just a second. Yes, we will not give this for now because we don't have any tenant over here. But if there's, and we'll restrict it, and if we give it the and run frequency. Run now. What? When we want it to run, every time when it will run, it will update that and data set with it. We only want run it once. Give here dataset name. We will give BDS worker la custom report test AP name. It will get fetch automatically what I want. To do is I want to replace or append. Here replace a workday, release the existing data with the data set and replace it. Append is what it will. Add it, I will give replace. By entering this, we created our base data, set this one. And if I open it in view, be able to see the data of it. Activities. Run integration now, I will run it. When I run the integration now, it will fetch the data from the Workday and they'll give over here because we created a data set. We told him that we need to pull the data from this one. Once we do it, it will pull. Fetch the data. Here. We can go and here in the data set, run the integration now. It will pull the latest data. And when I click on this, I will for now. The data is not visible here. If I click the data is coming, let me open and edit format. And also there's a one case here. It's a bug in Prism, which you can say sometimes what happens is you won't see the detailed data. Here the data might not pop up. The data will be there. It might be the case when there are too many data available, when there's too much data, or there's some issue with it. You will find this issue, but most of the time you will get to see the data, the demo data on both sides. It is as on this end, just for it. Let's say if you panic that why it's not available, then you are clear that why it is not available. Now you can see that we got the employee aid which you created, worker dependence here. dependence, you can see it's a multi-instance field, and the total base pay here, you can see that. Used which we added. It came out used in the base report here. This is a base report. Let me run it. Here that same field won't be there, that used won't be there, but it is for us. It will be there because we added an option over here. But if we won't add, it won't be there. CS currency column is added. That is the same. It is fetching in this one, and when we run a report, it will give us a unique 8 that load-id. When this was loaded, it will give us the date of now, that 3/10 October, and this is a unique 8 of it. I remember I told you that I will discuss this in future. This is what I wanted to show. This is ABBPA load ID. What the load ID is of particular this one, it will be same for all of them. It is our one. Let's say we ran an integration. Now when it is useful, let's say, let me open an Excel for you and to make you understand in detail. And are you able to see the Excel screen? Now here, and I will let this. Is it visible now? Yes, yes. Let's say now we have got the data of worker and MP ID and 1, 2, and 3, and then the name are, and the name are, let's say ABC. Next was it true? This is what this was the load one. Load one, it will have the details as load one. Basically here, if I show you, this is nothing. This is just a unique it of the load. You can see 68 to V8. This is all the same for all of them. It is not different. Why? This is used when we give the name of append, not replace. Here what we are selected two options. One is replace and another is replace and another is append. When we append the data and we got the same data, it 1, 2, 3, and here the name is a B and the worker name, what let's say ABC is only there. D. But now the load, it is different. And here the load, who will be there for all of them. For let's see, got it. In that terms, if I can identify the duplicates. When I append the data, I will know that this data is coming from the second load and second load on which date. I will be able to see the date that this is on. Third one, 3rd October, which is today's date. And why the date? The date is at the time is different. The time it takes. It is a time span, a timestamp, and it takes the date of the tenant setup. Let's say the tenant is set up in the time zone of, let's say, in the est or let's say piest. It will pull that date, not the date in which you are working. Yes, time it takes accordingly. Any confusion still here in understanding this concept? I got. Still digesting it. I got it. I understood. What you are, how you are doing. It's not. Thank you. Now what we will discuss it. First of all, I will discuss the tables. And after tables, I will explain the connections as to you. While creating only, we will discuss. First of all, what we can do is I can create a table in which I will have a data. What does table means? Table and data sets are almost same. But in the table, when we first of all we create a table and then put the data in and then data set. We create the data set first and then put the data in. Let's say a table is there BD and for table we will just short form is TBL worker. For that, and here you mentioned this. And then enable for analysis. I mentioned by enabling all rows the table will count towards the publishing row entitlement. And tag we are not giving the personal data and create. Once we create the table, it will ask us, see, remember, you saw the difference. When we create a table, when we create a data set, it will first ask us the data that please give us the source of the data. But here it is asking for the name first, and then it is asking that what we want to. Either we can do a file upload, either we can do existing table or data set, but then Workday report, I'll use the Workday report. What data report? What? It will give me all the work report which I created. As I mentioned, I created these two reports just an hour ago. I will create this worker and next. Here you can see it has automatically identified that what are the fields? Employee, worker, legal, first name. Height date is in text, age is in number. Location, address, country, dependency. And it has identified currency field as for me. This is just for my reference. This one, yes, I created this report an hour ago before our session. That's the way I created. The same way I just got stuck. I created the same way as we created that test report, our report. Let me show it to you. Already, if we were, because we weren't having any proper case for illustration, I thought to create a two Workday reports for you. See, this is the report. A worker, employee, worker, legal name, first age, gender. For this also, I selected this option, enable as web service CS and enable for Prism. I go to here and I will see if I want to change that. Let's say here, it will show me. Edit the schema. This is the step 2 of the creation of the first is I give the source of it. After the source of it, I will edit the schema. Let's say here the location address I don't want in the text format. I want it to in the text format. Format I can convert to instance. It has given me some error. Select a business object. Business object means it will consider cities from which business object. City of what city can be anything, workers, location, city or organization. City, what city? I can mention it over here. Instance, select business object and I can select the business object as worker. I selected the wrong one, a worker here. I will apply. Likewise, I can change the schema from here, but it's good call, convert it to a single instance. And now I want gender into, not instance, but I want it to be a single instance. Text, I can convert it from the text male or female. And then I will do is I will give save. There's one error, invalidate for fields. View table details, check what is the error about. Which event was asking. Cancel discard. Let me start it from scratch for this one. All the data got refreshed. Seems no worries. We will load the data into first. We will create a what do is go over here and we will create a data change task. Create a data change, you are not hitting the thing by the data change task. Data change task is create a connect, establish a connection. Then when it should face the data, here it is asking for source. Here we mentioned proper file or select a file, but we want to change the connection, give a change correction, Workday report and here work, and this one and give next. It will ask my target table worker, data insert or what insert, truncate and insert. What are those meanings? You can click on it and it will change it here. What is the meaning of it? Delete it. It will completely delete the data. Absurd is it will insert the data if it doesn't exist. If it exists, it updates the data. Let's let's say the Logan McNeil is there already and the country is USA, but now I got the new data. The new data load has Logan McNeil, same employee ID. But now the location is London or let's say UK, the country changed. It will modify it and not the change the data, and then we will go to next step. Payable missing external. External aid. Back. I think we need to do the mapping of it. Let me create it from scratch. Again, delete this. Create a table level worker data and in the analysis, I guess personal. Data create our workday report. We mention this next. For now, we won't change anything and give save. And then create a data change task. From here itself, change the code. Connection workday report from where it should get delivered. We will mention that DV worker. Data and give next target table this one and we will mention as truncate and this one. And then next mapping. Mapping will mention that this is that employee should be employee. We are mapping that table data with the worker data. We are just mapping it that. If when the report outputs as employee, it should store data in which it should store. Data in employee ID only. Let's say here team ID is there and your employee is there. We can mention. We can change it. They're basically mapping that what output should go in which field, but we should be sure that the data type should be same. This is text format. This is text format. This is instances. Instanza and then date numeric is numeric and give next and give finish. Save and run now. When we give save and run now, that particular thing will be created over here. We will see data change activities. Sometimes it runs. It takes time to run it. Will take time, but sometimes it completes early. Not an issue. Here we can see that a table has been updated with the latest data. If we see and view the table in a new format, and here we will be able to see the data. As I told you, sometimes see it's working, it's retrieving the data. It's working in the background. You might feel that why the data is not visible. Sometimes it also works in the background as it's retrieving. If I go to data change activity and here, DV worker table to table, this is retrieving the data. And it's been 1 minute. It takes time to load it. Any confusions in understanding the table? Are you clear in the table concept? I'm clear. I understood why. Emphasizing on doing the practice more and more because the more you practice, the more it will be easy for you to understand. And if you have doubt, you can get back to me. I won't say, don't ask me question. I would suggest that ask me question as much as possible because when you ask the question, you will come with a different approach, just the hyphen one. It will also challenge me, and if not, as I have the answers, I will answer you got. Concept is easy. Prism is not that hard. It's very easy, but it is just to know where the data comes from. That's the tricky part. The more you practice, the more you will be able to learn. Try to give yourself an assignment. Today, I will bring this data. I will do this thing. I was trying to pull the data. I stuck somewhere in there. I don't know what to write next. Let me create a derived dataset out of it to explain that explored KL5D. I will just mention as BDS. Personal data. I will explain the explore functions. Here, for what we have is we have the dependents. In a multi-instance field, what we are to understand, the state is explored data set. Edit information. Yes, it's it. Here, as I told you, sir, there are some functions which are new realities of validation and value mapping. If you also go to community, you won't find any description for it. That's why we are not able to cover these two fields, but I will explain the explored one because you also when you see on community as still they haven't updated, they have released update, they will soon be releasing it. Let's say before the session ends, if they update the documentation with this, that how we should use the validation and value mapping will cover it up here, which here automatically if you can see here we have employee worker dependents total this way, that too many differences. But here, if I click, I only able to see one dependent. Why? Because it's a multi-instance field. When I click on it, and it will ask name of the newly created, different and exploded. We'll drop the associated. What it is saying is we will drop an associated report field. You can add the report in A in the managed field. Here what I'm saying, they will drop this existing one and add a newer one and keep null values in a row. I will give preview. I want to see how the data will look for me. Here now you can see, now the look has changed. Now we have two instances for Logan. Why? Because she had two dependents, Megan and Pat. Let's say for Morgan, Steve Morgan. He had one, two, three. Three dependents are there, Josh, Catherine, and Elizabeth. That's why it comes. Created three instance, and you can see employees also same. If you see the similar one, I give the previous one. Here you can see Logan is there too. Steve Morgan has three dependents. This one row has one row only contains the data. This also have one data, but just to break it, we created explode, and which is the output of it. It has created more number of field for us. The number of the row breakups decides that how many dependents they have. Got it, got it. Any confusions in here? Explode means completely detailed. Yes, yes, explode. Is that converting a multi-instance field to a single instance field? How the data is showing up. Did you just export and claim it here? Yes, yes. Let me do it again. No worries, I will repeat it. First of all, our issue is what? Here we have the data type in the dependence format. In the dependence in multi-instance format. This is a symbol of multi-instance one-to-many relationship. One worker is there, it has many relationship with the dependents. Got it. Now what we want is here, it is very hard to identify. Here Megan is there. But if I want to do some calculation or for Megan or for Pat, I won't be able to do it. Correct that it Let's say I want to add some fields associated with Megan. What I will need is I will need one record for dependent what it got it. Yes. For that, I will explore this multi-instance to convert into the single instance field. For that, go to Add Stage, go to Explode. And when I click it, it will only give me the multi-instance field. Here, in all this data set, we only have one dependent as a multi-instance field. In case multiple days, then what shall we do? It will last multiple also, or the same way. Let's say if there is a country, not a country, but let's say if there is a field with the name of payroll results, payroll result line, it will also pop up over here. Because only one field is there, it will show me one field. Let's say there are multiple. It will show me multiple from which I can choose. At a time, I can choose only one field. Got it? Yes, I will do the dependence and then it will ask me the name of the new fields. Then I will give done. Once I give done, you can see that it has now created the field with a new name and dependent exploded. Yes, if I want to compare with the previous one, let me close this. This is the previous output. Worker to 2 in 1 car, only this. Both we are there, but now there are 2 records for Logan McTile. One row is for Megan and one row is for Pat. Got it? And it depends on the number of dependents. Let's say Logan has only 2 dependents. That's why only 2 it exploded. Multi-instance got exploded into the 2 rows. But let's say Steve Morgan has 3 dependents. Here, if I show you Steve Morgan has Josh, Catherine, Elizabeth, it got exploded into 3 this second, third and fourth what it is. When do we need these kind of scenarios in real time, just in real time? Let's say here only. Let's say I don't have a basin 1 file. I have a benefit data. Benefit data that who will get in, how much coverage I know that Megan will get her. Megan is the daughter of the Logan and Pat is the spouse of the Logan. She is the daughter. Let me explain into Excel. For now, what have happened is here. We have the data in this format that Logan is there and I know that here I have a Pat who is spouse. And now I have what other name was. It was Megan. Yes, Megan. Yes. Megan. Megan is there. But now this is one file, but there's another. And file in which it is mentioned that Logan has 2 dependents at and Logan is having another which is Megan. Let's say if any uncertain thing happens to Logan, who will get the full coverage of this benefit, here it will say 100% coverage to Pat because he is the spouse and here Megan will get 0%. Now to replicate the same thing into the Workday, what I will do is I will explore this thing into 2 instances. I will give Logan and here I will tell you also a Logan and there will be Pat Megan because here for the explanation I explained you but here it is only mentioned. A spouse only, spouse 100. How will I will assign to you spouse and rest to 0. I know that if dependent also, I can also extract relationship as I can assign Pat who has spouse and for spouse it will assign 100% coverage to it. This is a practical example of it. This is the concept of using the explode, but still I would say this is very less used. The major one is using the explode, which are used. I already discussed filtered group by join, manage field union, unpivot is also used. Unpivot is converting the row to the, let me check if we can able to, input field is let's say worker is there, output is worker and employed is there. and the field name from the input. Worker ID and preview. Two errors and the unique name of the output field worker. Output field is unique and it will give it. Select you. Basically, I need to give the same field type for both of them. Let me check if there's anything else what I can bring. Enter the unique name of the worker. Here you can see that what it did is it converted the data into the column. Yes, I'm able. What it did is it converted the data into two instances. Means WPL load ID, which was already there. It was already WPL load ID. Let me show it to you over here. Basically, it is what the name and pivot is what converting the data of the row into the column, of the column to the row, or vice versa. Let's say here the data was there of this particular of. Let me show the previous data input field. We had WPA load ID and it was in this format. But I want this WPA load ID into the column. I want that it should come in this row. For that I did this one. I go to output field. I'll show you here. You can see WPID, this one. Basically, what I did is I bring it from this column to row. Here the WPA ID is this. I brought it here. I can do it. And for anything, I can do it for others as it depends for what I want to do it. I can convert fields to both of it. Yes, let me give one example. Employee ID, and for this one I think it won't work because the data type is a different still. Let me check if it works. I think the data types should be the same. Yes, employee ID. Select the input that contains the same field type, but it doesn't have the same field type. And preview. Here is the best example of it. Butterfresh. Basic. What it is doing is it is converting the particular column into the other one. If I would explain in that here in the this one is there, and let's say I control C and I want to. Here it is in which column? It is in row. But I want in 1, 2, 3. I want whatever this control alter VI did ask, I will mention it over here. Transpose 1, 2, 3. Got it. Yes, basically we are converting from this to this. If it is in this, we will do in this one transpose. It is doing the transpose pivot or unpivot, but this is our very least use. I am explaining you because it's a good to know thing, but it's a very rare use function. The function which I have for this filter group by joint management union, you should know this by heart because there are major news and explode and pivot are the other secondary which are used, and these are the two news and we don't have any much information about this for now. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.